Welcome to the first week of VBA. This week we'll be going through the real basics of VBA or Visual Basic, looking at the environment that you'll be working in and some really basic code just to get you familiar with how things work in VBA. Now Visual Basic or VBA is a programming language that is used to write code to do things in Excel. So usually in Excel you're used to clicking on cells and entering data into cells. But what VBA does is instead it uses code, so computer program code, to achieve the same task. And this makes it easier to do a lot of tasks. Alright, now this first sheet, subroutines, we're going to create a subroutine which is just a program to tell Excel to do a number of functions. Now before we do that, we first have to make sure that we have VBA installed in your version of Excel. So to do that, click on the Office button on the top left hand corner, then click Excel Options, then click this Show Developer tab in the ribbon box. So make sure that's clicked, and then click OK. And that'll bring up this Developer tab up on the top right here. Then when you click that, you'll be able to see Visual Basic there. So click on Visual Basic, and this will bring up this screen, which is the programming window. Now, the programming window, this is where you will type all your code. On the left, you'll see it has the VBA project there, and then it has each sheet in the program. Now, when you double click on the different sheets, so for example, if you double click on this first sheet, that will allow you to write programs for that first sheet. If you double click on the second sheet, you'll write programs for the second sheet. If you double click on this workbook, that bottom one, double click on that, that'll allow you to write code for the entire workbook. And that's usually the best option because it allows you to use any of the programs you're writing in the entire workbook. Alright, so let's write this first subroutine here. So the goal in this first sheet is just to make a message box that says hi. So to build a message box, it'll pop up on the screen and just say hi. So to do that, we first type sub. Now, typing sub builds a subroutine, and then after that you put the name of the subroutine. So here we'll call it say hi. Now that name could be whatever you wanted it to be, but here let's call it say hi. And then we're going to type message box, which will build a message box. And after you type message box, in double quotes, you write what you want the message box to say. So here we want it to say hi, so we type hi in double quotes, then comma. The second thing you write there is what buttons you want the message box to have. Here we don't want buttons, so we just put nothing in there, just another comma. And then after the next comma, we want to put the title of the message box. So here we're just going to call it I say hi. Alright, and that's it. We've built a message box that will say hi, and its title up the top of the message box will be I say hi. So let's go back to Excel, and now we just have to run this subroutine or macro. So a subroutine is the same as a macro. So you go to macros here, and then you see it has this workbook.sayHi. That's the macro we built, and then you hit run. Bam! It brings up a message box that has a title of I say hi, and it just says hi. So there we go. We've built our first macro, our first subroutine in Visual Basic.